Patrick King is a best-selling author, social interaction coach, and human behavior specialist. He has spent years studying psychology, communication, and the science of influence. His work focuses on helping people improve their social intelligence and understand others on a deeper level. Through observation, analysis, and practical experience, Patrick King has guided thousands toward mastering emotional awareness and connection. He believes that true intelligence is not just knowing facts, but understanding people. His background in coaching and behavioral analysis has made him a trusted voice in the field of human behavior and relationships. Patrick King's approach is practical and grounded in real-world psychology. He teaches not through complex theories, but through observation and empathy. His purpose is to give readers the ability to see beyond words and recognize what people really mean, even when they do not say it aloud. He often says that every person is an open book for those who know how to read the signs. His books, including Read People Like a Book, are guides to decoding the invisible language of behavior. In this book, Patrick King reveals how to interpret body language, voice tone, and subtle cues that most people ignore. He explains how emotions drive actions and how you can detect honesty or deception in everyday situations. His writing style is simple, clear, and meant for anyone who wants to develop a deeper understanding of human nature. He invites the reader to become more observant and emotionally aware in every interaction. Patrick King's mission is not to teach manipulation, but to help people communicate with honesty and confidence. When you can read others, you also learn to understand yourself. This balance between awareness and empathy is what transforms ordinary communication into meaningful connection. With this understanding of the author and his purpose, we now step into the heart of the book. The journey begins with the most essential question of all: why should you learn to read people? In the next chapter, Patrick King uncovers the reasons why mastering this skill can change your personal, professional, and emotional life forever. Chapter 1. Why you should learn to read people. Humans are social beings, and understanding the people around us is one of the most valuable skills we can ever develop. Patrick King opens this book by emphasizing that words are only a fraction of communication. Most of what people think, feel, or intend is communicated through subtle cues, gestures, expressions, and tone of voice. Learning to read people is not about manipulation or controlling others. It is about awareness, empathy, and insight. When you can accurately interpret behavior, you navigate life with clarity, avoid misunderstandings, and make stronger, more informed decisions. People often hide their true feelings, intentionally or unconsciously. They may smile while feeling uneasy, nod while disagreeing internally, or speak confidently while masking insecurity. Without the skill to read these signs, you are left relying solely on words, which are easily filtered or false. Patrick King argues that developing the ability to read people is like gaining a sixth sense. You start noticing what others miss. You see the unspoken messages, the tiny flickers of truth that reveal intention, emotion, and personality. The author also explains that misunderstanding human behavior can lead to serious consequences. In personal relationships, not reading someone correctly may create unnecessary conflict or missed opportunities for connection. In professional life, failing to notice subtle cues can result in lost deals, poor teamwork, or misjudged situations. Even everyday interactions, like meeting new people or negotiating, benefit greatly from this skill. Understanding human behavior gives you an edge, not in exploiting others, but in connecting meaningfully and navigating life wisely. Patrick King emphasizes observation as the foundation of this skill. You cannot read people without first paying attention. Start by noticing posture, eye contact, gestures, tone of voice, and facial expressions. Look for consistency or deviation from patterns. Small, repeated signals reveal a person's true character and intentions more reliably than words. For instance, a person who laughs nervously while giving compliments may be hiding discomfort or insecurity. A person who leans in during conversation shows genuine interest, while someone who leans back may be reserved or skeptical. By observing these signs, you begin to see the hidden story behind what is being said. This chapter also introduces the concept of context. No single gesture or word carries universal meaning. Understanding people requires considering their normal behavior, environment, and circumstances. A crossed arm could mean defensiveness in one situation and mere comfort in another. True reading comes from comparing behavior over time and noticing patterns. Patrick King suggests taking mental notes, creating a baseline for each person, and detecting deviations that reveal emotion or intention. The ultimate goal of learning to read people is empowerment. When you see the signals others miss, you gain emotional intelligence, stronger relationships, and personal insight. You become capable of responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You notice honesty and deception, confidence and insecurity, openness and avoidance. Each interaction becomes richer, clearer, and more meaningful. As this chapter closes, Patrick King invites the reader to embrace observation and curiosity. He emphasizes that reading people is a skill that can be learned and refined through practice. It requires patience, attention, and empathy. With consistent effort, you begin to decode the hidden language of human behavior. With this foundation, the book now moves to the next stage. Chapter 2. The Basics of Human Behavior explores what drives people, why they act the way they do, and how to see patterns that explain even the most puzzling actions. Chapter 2. The Basics of Human Behavior. Understanding people begins with understanding the fundamental drivers of human behavior. Patrick King explains that every action has a cause, whether it is conscious or unconscious. Humans act based on needs, desires, fears, and past experiences. At the core, people seek safety, acceptance, and respect. They avoid pain and pursue comfort. Every behavior, whether small or significant, is an attempt to satisfy one or more of these basic motivations. Recognizing these drivers allows you to interpret actions more accurately and predict future behavior. The author emphasizes that behavior is influenced by both nature and nurture. Genetics shape temperament, personality, and predispositions, while upbringing, culture, and environment mold habits and reactions. This combination explains why people act differently, even in similar situations. Some may respond to stress with anger, others with withdrawal. Some are naturally empathetic, while others prioritize logic. Understanding these factors is essential for reading people because it creates context for their actions. Patrick King introduces the idea of observable patterns. People tend to act consistently over time, and these patterns reveal underlying personality and motivation. By watching someone in different situations, you can see the recurring behaviors that define them. For example, a person who always helps colleagues under pressure is likely genuinely empathetic. Someone who frequently interrupts others may be seeking control or attention. These patterns give clues about character and intentions, allowing you to anticipate how someone will respond in the future. Another important aspect is understanding triggers. Certain events, words, or actions can provoke strong reactions based on past experiences or personality traits. Patrick King points out that noticing what triggers someone provides insight into their values, insecurities, and desires. For instance, if a person becomes defensive when their competence is questioned, it suggests they value respect highly. Observing these triggers in everyday interactions sharpens your ability to predict behavior and respond appropriately. The chapter also stresses the role of motivation in behavior. People are driven by intrinsic motivations, like personal satisfaction or curiosity, and extrinsic motivations like rewards, recognition, or social approval. Recognizing the balance between these motivations helps you understand why people act as they do. Someone motivated by recognition may exaggerate achievements, while someone motivated by intrinsic satisfaction may quietly pursue excellence without seeking attention. Patrick King reminds readers that emotional states play a crucial role in behavior. Stress, happiness, fear, or anger can temporarily alter how someone behaves. Reading these emotions requires careful observation of body language, tone, and facial expressions. Emotions often reveal intentions before words do. For example, Nervous fidgeting may indicate anxiety or uncertainty about a decision. Detecting these emotions provides early insight into how someone may act in a given situation. Finally, this chapter emphasizes the importance of observation over assumption. Do not judge actions at face value. Instead, gather evidence, notice patterns, and consider context. Every person's behavior tells a story if you take the time to read it. By understanding the basics of human behavior, you equip yourself with the foundation to interpret nonverbal cues, detect deception, and build meaningful connections. With this groundwork laid, the book moves into the next stage. Chapter 3. Nonverbal Communication. Understanding body language teaches how to read the silent signals that often reveal more than words ever could. Chapter 3. Nonverbal Communication. Understanding body language. Communication is far more than words. Patrick King explains that body language carries the majority of human communication, often revealing more than speech ever can. People continuously send signals through posture, gestures, facial expressions, and movements. Learning to read these cues gives insight into thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Body language is often unconscious, making it a reliable indicator of how someone truly feels. Posture is one of the first signs to notice. How someone holds themselves communicates confidence, openness, or discomfort. Standing tall with shoulders back usually signals confidence and control. Slouched or hunched posture can indicate insecurity, fatigue, or submissiveness. Leaning forward shows engagement or interest, while leaning back may signal detachment, boredom, or self-assuredness. These subtle shifts in posture provide clues about a person's state of mind and feelings during interactions. Gestures are another critical aspect. Hands are particularly revealing. Open palms suggest honesty and openness. Clenched fists may indicate anger or frustration. Touching the face or neck often signals discomfort, nervousness, or deception. Patrick King emphasizes that gestures should always be read in clusters, rather than individually. A single gesture rarely tells the full story, but a combination of gestures, posture, and facial expression creates a clearer picture. The direction of the body also matters. People tend to orient themselves toward what interests them. Feet and shoulders often point toward a desired destination, person, or object. Observing these cues can reveal attraction, avoidance, or focus, even when the person's words say otherwise. Similarly, mirroring gestures can indicate rapport. When two people unconsciously adopt similar postures or movements, it signals harmony, connection, or agreement. Movement speed and energy provide additional insight. Rapid, erratic movements may indicate anxiety or impatience. Slow, deliberate movements can reflect confidence, calmness, or careful thought. Patrick King explains that context is crucial. An otherwise energetic person slowing down could be cautious, while a usually slow mover speeding up may be excited or nervous. Observing changes relative to a person's normal behavior is key to accurate interpretation. Facial expressions, though covered more in the next chapter, work closely with body language. A genuine smile combined with relaxed posture conveys trust and engagement. Conversely, a smile with tense shoulders or fidgeting hands may be insincere or masking discomfort. Patrick King advises combining all nonverbal signals to understand the full picture rather than relying on a single indicator. The chapter also highlights the importance of baseline behavior. Every individual has unique tendencies. To read body language accurately, first observe how someone normally behaves. Once you understand their baseline, deviations become meaningful. Nervous tics, avoidance, or sudden gestures become signals of stress, deception, or heightened emotion when they differ from the usual pattern. Patrick King stresses that body language is not foolproof, but it is often more truthful than words. By paying attention to posture, gestures, orientation, and energy, you gain a window into thoughts and emotions that may otherwise remain hidden. This skill enhances your ability to connect with people, build trust, and navigate social situations effectively. With a strong understanding of body language, the next logical step is to focus on Chapter 4, Facial Expressions, What People Don't Say with Words. Here, Patrick King explores the micro-expressions and subtle facial signals that reveal true emotions beyond spoken language. Chapter 4, Facial expressions. What people don't say with words. The human face is the most expressive part of the body. Patrick King explains that facial expressions communicate emotions almost instantly, often before words can. While people may try to hide their feelings, the face frequently reveals the truth through micro-expressions, tiny, fleeting movements that last only a fraction of a second. Learning to read these expressions allows you to understand what someone is truly feeling, even when they say otherwise. There are 7 universal emotions that can be detected across cultures: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. Each emotion has distinct facial cues. Genuine happiness involves the eyes as well as the mouth, creating what is known as a Duchenne smile. A fake smile uses only the lips and lacks warmth in the eyes. Sadness is often shown with drooping eyelids, a downward turn of the lips, and subtle tension in the face. Anger tightens the jaw, narrows the eyes, and flares the nostrils. By observing these signals, you gain insight into emotional states that words alone cannot convey. Patrick King emphasizes the importance of context. A facial expression alone may not be enough to understand someone fully. For example, raised eyebrows could indicate surprise, curiosity, or skepticism depending on the situation. Observing clusters of expressions, combined with body language and tone of voice, gives a more accurate picture of emotions. Micro-expressions are particularly telling because they appear quickly and are hard to control. A flash of fear or contempt can reveal true feelings even when someone is attempting to mask them. Eye movements are a powerful part of facial expression. Eye contact can indicate confidence, attention, or interest, while avoidance may suggest discomfort or deceit. Pupils can dilate in response to excitement or attraction, though this is subtle and requires careful observation. Patrick King explains that small shifts, like a brief tightening around the eyes or a flicker of tension in the brow, can indicate stress, dishonesty, or hidden thoughts. The mouth also reveals emotion. Tension around the lips may indicate anger, nervousness, or suppressed emotion. A quick smirk or half smile can signal sarcasm or skepticism. Even subtle movements, like biting the lip or pressing lips together, provide clues about internal states. Patrick King encourages readers to combine these signals with other nonverbal cues for a complete understanding. Facial expressions are not static. People's faces change constantly depending on emotion, social context, and personal habits. Learning someone's baseline expression is crucial. A slight frown on a person who normally smiles often may indicate concern or disapproval. A relaxed face on someone usually tense may signal comfort or relief. The key is noticing deviations from their typical expressions. Mastering facial expression. Reading improves your ability to detect honesty, understand moods, and build rapport. When you can read subtle changes in the face, you gain insight into feelings that are often hidden or unspoken. This skill enhances both personal and professional interactions by allowing you to respond appropriately to emotional cues. With facial expressions understood, the next layer of human communication comes from the voice. Chapter 5. Voice and Speech. Patterns explores how tone, pitch, speed, and rhythm reveal emotions and intentions beyond the words themselves. Chapter 5. Voice and Speech Patterns. Words carry meaning, but the way they are spoken often reveals more than the words themselves. Patrick King explains that voice is a powerful indicator of emotion, intention, and state of mind. Tone, pitch, speed, rhythm, and pauses all provide clues to a person's feelings and truthfulness. Learning to listen beyond the words allows you to understand people on a deeper level and respond more effectively. Tone of voice is one of the clearest indicators of emotion. A high-pitched voice may signal nervousness, stress, or excitement. A low, steady tone often conveys confidence, calmness, or authority. Rapid speech can indicate anxiety, eagerness, or impatience, while slow, deliberate speech reflects thoughtfulness, control, or relaxation. By observing these variations, you can sense underlying emotions that may not be expressed verbally. Patrick King highlights pauses and hesitations as important signals. People often pause when they are uncertain, nervous, or hiding information. A sudden change in speech pace can indicate discomfort or excitement. Similarly, repeating words or phrases may suggest stress, emphasis, or an attempt to persuade. Paying attention to these subtle cues provides insight into someone's mindset and intentions. Volume and intensity of speech also communicate meaning. A louder voice may reflect confidence, assertiveness, or anger. A softer voice can signal shyness, secrecy, or tenderness. Shifts in volume during conversation often indicate emotional changes. For example, a person speaking softly about an important topic may be uncomfortable or hesitant to share, while a sudden increase in volume may reflect passion or frustration. Patrick King emphasizes that context matters. Different people have unique speech patterns, and what is normal for one person may be a signal for another. Establishing a baseline for an individual's typical voice patterns allows you to notice deviations that indicate stress, deception, or heightened emotion. Observing multiple aspects of speech together, tone, speed, pitch, volume, provides a more accurate understanding than focusing on one element alone. Listening for emotional cues in speech helps in detecting honesty and building rapport. For instance, a person may verbally agree with you, but a nervous or inconsistent tone could indicate doubt. Conversely, steady and confident speech often aligns with sincerity. Patrick King encourages practicing active listening, which involves paying attention to both what is said and how it is said, noticing subtle shifts that reveal true feelings. The chapter also touches on speech rhythm and patterns. People often develop predictable ways of speaking, and changes in this rhythm can signal changes in emotion or intention. Emphasized words, rising inflections, and micropauses all carry information about a person's thoughts and attitudes. By tuning into these details, you can detect interest, discomfort, excitement, or deception. Mastering voice and speech patterns enhances your ability to understand people deeply. It complements observation of body language and facial expressions, creating a fuller picture of emotion and intention. By combining these skills, you develop the capacity to read people accurately and respond appropriately, building stronger connections and avoiding misunderstandings. With voice and speech understood, the next focus is Chapter 6, Behavioral Patterns, Recognizing Habits and Traits. Here, Patrick King explores how repeated behaviors and consistent traits reveal personality and intentions over time. Chapter 6, Behavioral Patterns, Recognizing Habits and Traits. Understanding people goes beyond observing single actions. Patrick King explains that consistent patterns in behavior reveal much more about a person than isolated incidents. Habits, routines, and recurring traits are reflections of personality, values, and priorities. By noticing these patterns, you can predict behavior, understand motivations, and gain deeper insight into a person's character. Behavioral patterns emerge from a combination of personality, past experiences, and current circumstances. Some patterns are obvious, like punctuality or helpfulness, while others are subtle, like the way someone fidgets when anxious, or the tone they use when giving instructions. Patrick King emphasizes that observing repeated actions over time is key. Patterns create a reliable map of how a person is likely to act in the future. For instance, someone who consistently avoids confrontation may respond with silence or withdrawal in stressful situations. Habits are also revealing. Daily routines, gestures, and responses show what a person values and prioritizes. A person who always arrives early demonstrates organization and respect for time. Someone who frequently interrupts may unconsciously seek control or attention. Behavioral observation allows you to distinguish between conscious choices and subconscious tendencies, providing insight into both personality and intent. Patrick King highlights that deviations from normal behavior are especially informative. When someone acts differently than usual, it often indicates a shift in emotion, stress level, or motivation. For example, a usually calm person displaying impatience may be under pressure, while a reserved individual showing openness may be particularly engaged. Recognizing these shifts allows you to respond appropriately and understand underlying causes. Behavioral patterns also help in understanding relationships and social roles. The way a person behaves with friends, family, colleagues, or strangers can vary, but consistent patterns emerge in their interactions. Observing how someone treats people in different contexts reveals their core values, empathy level, and social strategies. These insights are crucial for building trust and effective communication. Another important aspect is the connection between behavior and personality. Behavioral patterns often reflect underlying traits like conscientiousness, openness, extroversion, agreeableness, or neuroticism. Patrick King explains that noticing these traits in action helps predict responses in new situations. For example, a highly conscientious person is likely reliable and methodical, while a spontaneous person may be flexible but unpredictable. Understanding these patterns enhances your ability to read people accurately. Finally, the author advises combining behavioral observation with other nonverbal cues like body language, facial expressions, and voice. Patterns become more meaningful when cross-referenced with these signals. Over time, repeated observation builds a mental profile of a person, revealing not only what they do, but why they do it. Mastering behavioral patterns equips you with a tool to anticipate actions, recognize intentions, and connect more effectively. With this understanding, the next step is Chapter 7. Psychological Types and Personality Clues. Here, Patrick King explores how different personalities express themselves and what subtle signs reveal their inner world. Chapter 7. Psychological Types and Personality Clues. People are not the same. Patrick King explains that understanding psychological types and personality traits is essential for accurately reading behavior. Each person has a unique combination of temperament, preferences, and tendencies that shape how they think, feel, and act. By identifying these traits, you gain insight into motivations, reactions, and decision-making processes. One way to understand personality is through observable clues. Extroverts, for example, tend to be expressive, energetic, and talkative. They seek social interaction and often display open gestures, frequent eye contact, and animated facial expressions. Introverts, on the other hand, are more reserved, thoughtful, and reflective. They may speak less, but choose words carefully and observe their surroundings closely. Recognizing these differences helps you tailor communication and interpret behavior more accurately. Patrick King also discusses emotional and cognitive tendencies. Some people rely heavily on logic and analysis, while others are guided by emotions and intuition. Logical thinkers respond well to facts and reason, whereas emotional individuals react to empathy, mood, and social context. Observing how a person processes information and reacts under stress provides clues about their personality type. For instance, someone who remains calm and methodical during conflict is likely analytical, while someone who responds passionately may be more emotional or relational. Another important framework is the Big Five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Each trait manifests in behavior, speech, and nonverbal signals. Highly open individuals are curious, imaginative, and adaptable, often seeking new experiences. Conscientious people are organized, disciplined, and reliable. Agreeable people are cooperative, empathetic, and friendly, while neurotic individuals may show anxiety, mood swings, or emotional sensitivity. Observing these traits in action helps you predict behavior in different contexts. Personality clues are also found in habits and decision-making. How someone handles stress, approaches tasks, or interacts socially reveals much about their underlying type. Patrick King emphasizes that combining behavioral patterns with personality observation creates a more complete picture. For example, a quiet person who is highly conscientious may act differently under pressure than an equally quiet person who is spontaneous and flexible. Context matters, and observing patterns over time builds accuracy. The chapter highlights the value of empathy in understanding personality. By seeing the world through another person's perspective, you can interpret their actions more accurately and respond effectively. Recognizing psychological types allows you to anticipate reactions, resolve conflicts, and communicate persuasively without relying solely on words. Patrick King also notes that understanding personality helps detect inconsistencies or deception. When someone acts out of character, it can indicate stress, concealment, or hidden motives. Comparing behavior to expected personality patterns allows you to see deviations that reveal true intentions. With a foundation in personality and psychological types, the next skill is critical for navigating social interactions. Chapter 8. Detecting Lies and Deception explores how to recognize dishonesty and hidden motives by reading behavior, expressions, and speech patterns. Chapter 8. Detecting Lies and Deception. Patrick King explains that deception is a common part of human interaction. People lie for many reasons, from self-protection to gain, but lies often leave subtle clues in behavior, speech, and expressions. Learning to detect deception is not about becoming suspicious of everyone, but about being aware of inconsistencies and hidden signals. By observing these signs, you can protect yourself, make informed decisions, and understand others more accurately. Deception creates stress in the body. Even skilled liars struggle to completely control micro-expressions, gestures, or vocal cues. Patrick King emphasizes that no single sign proves a lie, but clusters of indicators increase reliability. Avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, or touching the face may suggest discomfort or dishonesty, especially when these behaviors deviate from a person's baseline. Establishing a baseline of normal behavior is crucial because individuals naturally behave differently. Speech patterns are another key indicator. Hesitations, repeated words, overly detailed explanations, or unnatural pauses can signal lying. People may also change their tone, pitch, or volume when concealing information. Rapid speech can indicate nervousness, while overly slow speech may be a tactic to appear thoughtful. Patrick King advises paying attention to inconsistencies between what is said and how it is said. When words contradict body language or facial expressions, the truth is often revealed in the nonverbal cues. Micro-expressions are especially valuable in detecting lies. These are fleeting facial expressions that betray emotion before someone can mask it. A flash of fear, contempt, or anxiety during a statement may indicate deception. Patrick King explains that these signals are brief and subtle, so careful observation and practice are required to notice them consistently. Behavioral clusters provide the strongest clues. A person may avoid eye contact, touch their face, and shift their posture all at once while speaking inconsistently. Observing multiple signs together increases confidence in your assessment. Isolated gestures, such as crossing arms or looking away, do not necessarily indicate lying. Context and deviation from baseline behavior are key. Patrick King also highlights verbal deception strategies. Liars often overcompensate by providing excessive detail, repeating questions before answering, or using distancing language to separate themselves from the lie. They may also avoid contractions, speaking formally or unnaturally. Listening carefully to these patterns, alongside observing nonverbal cues, improves your ability to detect dishonesty. Emotional leakage is another important concept. Even when someone tries to appear calm, their emotions can slip through subtle signals in the face, voice, or posture. Stress, fear, guilt, or excitement often manifests in micro-movements that trained observers can detect. Patrick King emphasizes that intuition combined with careful observation enhances accuracy in spotting deception. By understanding and applying these techniques, you develop the ability to sense hidden motives and dishonesty. Detecting lies improves personal safety, strengthens trust in relationships, and enables better decision-making. With deception understood, the next area of focus is Chapter 9, Emotions and How They Reveal Intentions. Here, Patrick King explains how recognizing emotional signals helps uncover what drives people and predicts how they will act. Chapter 9, Emotions and How They Reveal Intentions. Emotions are the driving force behind human behavior. Patrick King explains that every action is influenced, consciously or unconsciously, by how a person feels. Understanding emotions allows you to interpret intentions, predict reactions, and respond effectively in social interactions. Emotions are often more honest than words because they are difficult to conceal completely. Facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice reveal emotional states. Anger, fear, joy, sadness, surprise, disgust, and contempt manifest in observable cues. Patrick King emphasizes that detecting these emotions helps you understand what someone truly wants or fears. For example, frustration may indicate that a person feels blocked or disrespected, while nervousness can signal uncertainty or insecurity. Recognizing these signals provides insight into intentions and upcoming behavior. The author highlights that emotions are contagious. People unconsciously mirror the emotional energy of those around them. By staying calm, empathetic, and attentive, you can influence the emotional tone of interactions positively. Similarly, noticing shifts in another person's emotional state allows you to adapt your approach. A sudden change from calm to tense behavior can signal that a topic or event has affected them deeply. Patrick King discusses the importance of context in interpreting emotions. A facial expression or gesture alone may not provide the full picture. Observing patterns over time and across situations increases accuracy. For example, someone who frequently smiles but shows tension in their hands or voice may be masking discomfort. Understanding the full emotional context reveals the underlying intention behind words and actions. Micro-expressions play a key role in emotional detection. These brief, involuntary expressions reveal true feelings that people attempt to hide. Even skilled liars or socially adept individuals cannot completely control these fleeting signals. Observing these expressions, combined with voice, posture, and habitual behavior, gives a comprehensive understanding of emotional states. Emotions also reveal priorities and values. A person who reacts strongly to criticism may place high importance on respect or competence. Someone who shows excitement about new ideas may value creativity and growth. Patrick King emphasizes that understanding these emotional drivers allows you to anticipate behavior, build rapport, and communicate persuasively. The chapter also touches on emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, interpret, and respond to emotions effectively. High emotional intelligence improves relationships, negotiation, and conflict resolution. By reading emotions accurately, you respond in ways that strengthen trust and connection rather than reacting impulsively or misjudging situations. Recognizing emotional cues equips you with insight into both conscious and unconscious motives. It allows you to predict behavior, detect hidden intentions, and adapt to social dynamics with skill and empathy. With emotions understood, the next stage expands this skill to groups. Chapter 10. Social Dynamics. Reading Groups and Crowds explains how to interpret interactions, hierarchy, and influence within collective settings. Chapter 10. Social Dynamics. Reading Groups and Crowds. Understanding individuals is one skill, but interpreting the behavior of groups requires additional observation and insight. Patrick King explains that every group, whether a small team or a large crowd, has a social structure. Leaders, followers, influencers, and outliers interact in patterns that reveal power, influence, and intentions. Learning to read these dynamics helps you navigate social situations, detect hidden agendas, and influence outcomes effectively. The first step in reading groups is observing attention and focus. Notice who people look at, follow, or mimic. Leaders often attract attention naturally, and others mirror their gestures or expressions. Patrick King emphasizes that influence is visible in body language, speech patterns, and positioning. For instance, someone who interrupts frequently or dominates conversation may be asserting authority, while those who defer may be followers. Group cohesion and energy provide additional insight. When members display synchronized gestures, posture, or expressions, the group is united and aligned. Conversely, discrepancies in body language, such as crossed arms, avoidance, or disengagement, indicate tension, disagreement, or conflict. Understanding these signals allows you to assess the overall mood and predict potential issues within the group. Patrick King also highlights the role of social roles. People unconsciously adopt roles such as leader, mediator, challenger, or observer. Each role comes with predictable behaviors. For example, a mediator may try to resolve conflicts, while a challenger may test authority or boundaries. By recognizing these roles, you can anticipate interactions, influence outcomes, and respond strategically. Observing microbehaviors is crucial in groups. Small actions, like who speaks first, who nods or smiles at whom, and how people physically position themselves, provide clues about hierarchy and alliances. Patrick King emphasizes that group behavior is more revealing than individual statements because social pressures often expose true preferences, loyalties, and intentions. Crowds exhibit predictable patterns as well. Emotional contagion, peer pressure, and groupthink influence how people act collectively. High energy and excitement often amplify emotions, while tension or fear spreads quickly. Recognizing these dynamics helps you remain aware, make informed decisions, and avoid being swept up in group-driven behavior. The chapter also stresses that context and baseline matter in group analysis. Understanding individual behavior within the group allows you to notice deviations and subtle signals. A normally assertive person who becomes quiet may feel intimidated, while a reserved person taking the lead may indicate an opportunity or hidden agenda. Patrick King concludes that reading groups and crowds enhances your ability to influence, negotiate, and communicate effectively in social and professional settings. By observing patterns, roles, and interactions, you gain a comprehensive understanding of group dynamics and the motives of the individuals within. With social dynamics mastered, the next chapter focuses on practical applications. Chapter 11: Practical Applications. Negotiation, influence, and persuasion explores how these skills can be used ethically to communicate effectively and achieve desired outcomes. Chapter 11: Practical Applications. Negotiation, influence, and persuasion. Understanding people is valuable, but applying this knowledge strategically can transform personal and professional interactions. Patrick King explains that reading people provides the foundation for negotiation, influence, and persuasion. By observing behavior, emotions, and social cues, you can communicate more effectively, build trust, and guide outcomes without manipulation. The first key to practical application is empathy. Understanding what drives a person, their fears, desires, and motivations, allows you to connect meaningfully. When you show that you understand someone's perspective, they are more likely to respond positively. Patrick King emphasizes that empathy is not agreement. It is awareness. This awareness enhances communication, reduces conflict, and fosters cooperation. Negotiation relies heavily on reading people. Observing microexpressions, tone of voice, and body language can indicate hesitation, confidence, or openness. A slight pause, fidget, or change in posture may signal uncertainty or an opportunity to adjust your approach. By noticing these cues, you can choose the right moment to present your ideas, ask questions, or make concessions. Effective negotiators respond to subtle signals rather than relying solely on spoken words. Influence is another practical application of people reading. Patrick King highlights that mirroring gestures, speech patterns, or energy levels creates rapport and trust. People naturally feel comfortable with those who reflect their behavior. Coupled with attentive listening and acknowledgement of emotions, this technique allows you to guide conversations and inspire cooperation without appearing forceful. Persuasion involves understanding priorities and values. By observing patterns, emotional responses, and personality traits, you can frame ideas in a way that resonates with someone's core motivations. For example, a conscientious individual responds well to logical, organized arguments, while an empathetic person values understanding and connection. Patrick King emphasizes that effective persuasion aligns your goals with the other person's perspective rather than imposing your own. The chapter also highlights subtle cues during interactions. Eye contact, body orientation, and micro-expressions provide continuous feedback. Adjusting your strategy based on these observations increases the likelihood of success in negotiations, presentations, or discussions. Recognizing tension, uncertainty, or agreement allows you to adapt naturally, enhancing influence without coercion. Patrick King warns against unethical use of these skills. The goal is not manipulation, but informed communication. Reading people responsibly strengthens relationships, improves collaboration, and builds credibility. When applied with integrity, these techniques empower you to connect authentically while achieving mutually beneficial outcomes. By integrating empathy, observation, and adaptability, you transform understanding into action. Reading people becomes a tool for effective leadership, negotiation, and influence. With practical applications covered, the next focus is Chapter 12, Developing Your Intuition and People Sense. Here, Patrick King explains how to refine your ability to sense emotions, intentions, and truth instinctively without conscious analysis of every signal. Chapter 12, Developing Your Intuition and People Sense. Patrick King explains that intuition is a natural extension of observation and experience. After studying behavior, body language, voice, facial expressions, and social patterns, your brain begins to recognize subtle cues automatically. This people sense allows you to understand intentions, emotions, and truth instinctively, often before conscious reasoning takes over. Developing intuition enhances decision-making, social interaction, and emotional awareness. The first step in building people sense is practice. Consistent observation of individuals and groups sharpens your ability to notice patterns and deviations. Patrick King emphasizes keeping attention focused on small details, gestures, posture, tone, and expressions. Over time, the mind internalizes these signals, and interpretation becomes almost instantaneous. Experience combined with reflection strengthens your intuitive accuracy. Empathy is crucial to intuition. Understanding how others feel and why they act a certain way improves your instinctive reading. Patrick King explains that intuition is not mystical. It is pattern recognition informed by emotional awareness. The more you understand motivations, personality traits, and emotional states, the more accurately your intuition reflects reality. Trusting your instincts is another important aspect. Early in development, intuition may feel uncertain, but as you practice and verify observations, confidence grows. Patrick King advises checking your intuitive impressions against actual behavior and outcomes. Over time, your mind learns which signals are most reliable, and intuition becomes a dependable tool for interpreting human behavior. Situational awareness enhances people sense. Being fully present in interactions allows you to notice subtle shifts in emotion, tone, or posture. Patrick King emphasizes minimizing distractions and focusing on both verbal and nonverbal cues. By combining attention with knowledge of human behavior, intuition becomes a guide that helps you navigate complex social situations with ease. Developing intuition also involves self-awareness. Understanding your own emotions, biases, and reactions prevents misinterpretation of others' behavior. Patrick King highlights that the more aware you are of yourself, the clearer you can read people objectively. Emotional clarity allows you to distinguish between signals originating from others and those projected from your own perceptions. Finally, Patrick King emphasizes continuous learning. Observing a variety of people, reflecting on interactions, and adjusting interpretations based on outcomes gradually refines intuition. People sense allows you to respond naturally and confidently, making decisions based on insight rather than guesswork. With intuition and people sense developed, the book moves to its conclusion. Chapter 13, Conclusion. Becoming a Human Lie Detector integrates all skills learned, showing how observation, analysis, and empathy combine to create mastery in reading people, understanding emotions, detecting deception, and building meaningful connections. Chapter 13. Conclusion. Becoming a Human Lie Detector. Patrick King concludes the book by emphasizing that reading people is a skill that can be learned, refined, and applied in every area of life. By combining observation, analysis, empathy, and intuition, you develop the ability to understand intentions, detect deception, and connect meaningfully with others. Becoming a human lie detector is not about suspicion or manipulation. It is about awareness, insight, and ethical communication. The first principle is integration. All the skills covered, body language, facial expressions, voice patterns, behavioral habits, psychological types, and emotional cues work together. Patrick King explains that no single indicator is enough to determine truth or intention. True accuracy comes from observing multiple signals, noting deviations from baselines, and considering context. Combining these skills creates a complete picture of a person's inner state. Empathy and intuition remain central. By understanding the emotions and motivations behind behavior, you interpret signals with accuracy and compassion. Patrick King emphasizes that ethical application is key. Using these skills responsibly strengthens trust, improves relationships, and enhances personal and professional interactions. A skilled observer does not exploit weaknesses, but responds with insight and understanding. The author also highlights continuous practice. Becoming proficient requires attention, patience, and reflection. Regular observation of people in diverse situations allows you to recognize patterns, anticipate behavior, and refine intuition. Experience teaches you which cues are most reliable and how to read subtle deviations from normal behavior. Over time, these skills become instinctive, allowing rapid, accurate assessments without conscious effort. Patrick King reminds readers that reading people is not a tool for manipulation, but for empowerment. It enhances negotiation, influence, and persuasion ethically. It improves social awareness, decision-making, and emotional intelligence. By understanding what drives others and recognizing hidden intentions, you navigate life with clarity, confidence, and empathy. The chapter concludes with a vision of mastery. A person who can read behavior, detect deception, and understand emotional cues becomes more than observant. They become perceptive, intuitive, and insightful. Patrick King encourages readers to continue practicing, observing, and learning, turning these skills into second nature. With dedication, anyone can develop the ability to understand people deeply, anticipate actions, and foster genuine connections. With this final integration, the journey through Read People Like a Book comes full circle. Readers now possess a comprehensive toolkit for interpreting human behavior, understanding emotions, and applying these insights ethically in daily life. If you found this summary helpful and want more audiobook-style summaries of self-help, psychology, and personal development books, make sure to subscribe. Subscribing ensures you never miss a new summary and helps you continue building your knowledge and skills with easy-to-follow, in-depth content. Stay tuned for more insights and practical guidance to master life, people, and success.